Okay. So after successfully taking out the the snow troopers and the ISB agents and destroying the nav computer and the R2 unit, you managed to find yourself back to the safe house, where you, on first entering the safe house, you are greeted by, and it's our first new, let me just do this. Show to everyone. Tell me if this comes up for you.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So back at the safe house is this is Fren. Okay, and so that I think is mentioned in a couple of the backgrounds that you guys have been talking through. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you the bio of Fren, just so because you know her, you've worked with her in the past as well at the time. So I'm just going to give you a real quick rundown of who Fren is. So Fren has lived and worked at Glare Peak for 5 years as an engineer. About a year ago, her employer, Olam Roscom, suspected her of selling industrial secrets from the places they worked, and he feared the Imperial suspicion, so he fired her. He wasn't entirely wrong. Fren passed information to secret rebel contacts, including Lieutenant Jackson Brand, and arrived and recruited her to the Alliance proper. So another recent recruit, okay? And then just...
What was she passing? What information was she passing? Do we know? Was it?
So it just says it was she was selling industrial secrets to the places she worked. Okay, and then at the bottom it says, as an Ithorian, she has the ability to produce loud bellow, so she can do this very loud noise. 3 years ago, she briefly worked for Roscom Mechanized Systems at the detention center, and managed to procure. I'm going to tell you some of the bits in a moment, but she worked at the detention center, and the last bit's not relevant. You're good on that. Okay, so she's previously has worked in the detention center, but she's now recruited and with you guys. Okay. And on your return to the safe house, you stumble. You're all in there. You know, you're pretty exhausted from the day's activities already. You reach across, Doloth goes straight for the stim packs, throws them to each of you. You're trying to recover as quickly as possible. You know this is the day is yet to be over, and Fren just like turns to you and goes, so how do the Ithorians? How I see on the side of the neck, the mouth is on the side of the neck, and they actually talk in rumbles and low rumbles, and then they have a translator, so it's like a normal voice that comes out for you guys. It's like through a robotic voice almost, but she turns to you and says, your activities are all over transmissions. Even the local news are talking about it, as well as we've recently intercepted a transmission, an Imperial transmission. Seems we're going to have some big company soon. Vader is most definitely on his way.
Oh, can I go home now? Okay. Jackson will turn to her and say, what precisely has been on the news, friend?
They're talking about the crashed Y-wing, blaming the rebels all the time, saying a disturbance, an explosion was recorded. I assume that was one of you guys.
I may have had something to do with that, and possibly one of the other ones. It may not be the last explosion they see this day.
They are reporting as well that they have kidnapped. They have not kidnapped. They have recovered 2 of the rebel pilots and taken them to the detention center.
We feared as much. Our current mission, we've dealt with a possible leak in data, but our current mission is to recover those pilots at all costs. What they know could compromise the entire rebellion from its grounds up, something from which the rebellion will never recover. The problem we have with Vader on the way is that unless we can rescue those pilots, there is no way that they can reliably hold out under interrogation. Lord Vader's techniques are legendary amongst the Imperial Army. I've never experienced them, and I hope I never will, but only if we're quick. We need to be able to get into the detention center We need to be able to get around the citywide lockdown that we were seeing more and more of as we left the crash site. More importantly, we need to be able to get it into the facility undetected and move around freely once we're in there, so we can find and rescue the 2 pilots, codenamed Tracer and Deflector. And more importantly than that, we need to be able to get out with them securely and back to this safe house once we've done it. And for that, I would welcome any suggestions that any of you have for getting in and out of the detention center undetected, hopefully, and getting out with the pilots. I have one ace up my sleeve, hopefully, a man I've known for a few days now. He's a security officer named Erid Agiris. Now, he's an Alderanian immigrant, somewhat sympathetic towards the rebel cause, but I think if he knows that Vader is here, the man who was aboard the Death Star when his planet was destroyed, we may be able to get him to help us. I don't know quite how far his reach goes, but we may be able to get some access. However, Doloth, I believe you know the detention center better than anyone.
I do. I know the detention center, but more importantly, I have a contact, Agent Furlan. She is not on our side. She, in fact, is quite against the rebellion. But she is so against us that I feel I could feed her some information that may be able to distract and move some of the Imperial forces away from the detention center while we extract the rebellion pilots. It will take me some time to contact her, but I feel this may be a part of our plan that we can ensure our success.
This can certainly help us with our escape. Now remains the simple task of getting to the detention center and getting in. I'm
sitting there quietly during this little sort of chit chat, just kind of like going through a little bit of internal, recon, sort of thinking about what's happened, sort of aware there's been a conversation going on, and then I'll just kind of look up and say, maybe just hold a finger up a little bit, sort of, and say quietly, I've been in the detention center and I have a map. Well, I kind of have a map, more of a mental map. For a while, I worked for the city director, Perillion, and part of my duties while I was working for him was to basically take his notes and bring his sandwiches, make him coffee and stuff. And I had to accompany him on several meetings.
Silence gone silent.
Yeah, so I had to accompany him on several meetings, during which I was able to create make a mental map of the detention base. I also managed to recon the area and note that there seemed to be 2 main ways into the base. There's a ground entrance, which seems to mainly be kind of deliveries, supplies, materials, no prisoners going through the ground, and there is an elevated landing platform where the prisoners come in. I would imagine, I didn't personally go in that way, but I would imagine it'd be a little bit more dangerous and a bit more guarded. I was able to place a tracking beacon on the droid that pilots one of the official airspeeders. And I think this may be, I didn't quite think at the time how useful it might be. I was able to place a hacking unit on the droid so that we could take control of that droid at any time. So it might be we can hack the droid, get it to pilot the speeder, and take us to the landing platform close to the closer to the prisoner delivery. The alternative would be to go in through the ground and work our way up. I have not decided which is the better way.
Rand's just going to give just a little dry sort of chuckle and look over at Silent and say, I can see why the rebellion recruited you, my friend, and not just for your luscious locks. You never fail to surprise me. My knowledge of the detention center, and I think now, if we have any knowledge of the situation, now is the time to share it. We need to formulate a plan and at all haste. I'm aware that the prisoners are delivered by the landing platform. We saw this when the pilots were taken from the crash site. We saw the speeder land at the upper platform. But I'm also aware that the automated turrets there will fire at any speeder or ship that tries to land without authorization. And this has been something I've been struggling with as we've escaped the crash site. How on earth would we find that permission? Even my contacts within the local security forces are unlikely to have those sorts of permissions. And here you are gifting us a possible solution. The only other knowledge I hold is obviously the people who reside there. I suspect that both of you are aware, but the detention center holds dangerous criminals as well as Imperial political prisoners. As part of our escape, perhaps if we can free a few other prisoners, not just the two that we are critically seeking, we can create some chaos, some diversion, perhaps find some others who are amenable to our cause, who've suffered at the hands of the Imperials and can help us escape, and maybe even future join the rebellion. What else do either of you know that can help us get in and out?
I am sure if we can unlock the existing prisoners there, the chaos and confusion it will cause will give us more than ample time to extract the rebellion pilots and make our escape, while the other inmates cause chaos within the facility.
There are a few stormtroopers in the facility itself, but I think most of the official staff will be ISBS and Imperial Army. Not so many stormtroopers, but there will be a few.
Well, Imperial Army, I may be able to get us around without the need for bloodshed, though I hold back nothing if that's necessary. But it may expedite our entry and our exit. I feel we have a plan coming together here. We looks like we may be able to use Silence hacked droid to get us into the facility. Doloth, I don't know your awareness of the prisoners there, whether there are any priority targets we should be looking at, but I think the more we can free, the better, and the more we can convince to aid us. I recommend we need to do a few things. Silent, you need to see if you can get access to the droid to bring us a speeder that we can get official access. I need to speak with Erid Agiris, the Glare Peak security officer, and see if there's anything he can do to help us in this endeavor, either with distractions, with free access, perhaps with a method of getting around the lockdown and the security cordons. And Doloth, your contact will be vital in getting us out safely, I think, with a key distraction.
Well, my contact, I will contact Agent Furlan and ensure that she believes that there will be a rebel incursion or landing on the opposite end of the city. That should ensure that the majority of the stormtroopers and Imperial presence are waiting for us in a place where we will never be.
Stunning idea, my friend. If the rebels were to come, they would come to the site of the Y-Wing crash to recover the data. It's on the opposite side.
Mm.
And Fren at that point just leans forward and just says, I too have some information that I think will be useful to you. My old employer, Olam Roscom, he's the owner of Roscom Mechanized Systems. He's still the detention center's main maintenance contractor. He's a terrible boss, and he has a high staff turnover, which means his teams rarely arrive with the same faces in and out of the detention block. I also, when I was fired from the center, managed to acquire, and she puts down on the little table in front, some RMS IDs. And so she spreads the IDs out in front of you. And it says, I've also, since then, I have befriended Olam's long-suffering supplier, Hal Hull, of Hal's Goods and Services. He's quite the rebel sympathizer, and he could be talked into contributing to our current cause. You'll just need to go and get to his general store and warehouse across town.
Dan,
Fantastic. I
Dan,
think, friend,
if we look, sorry, no, go on, carry on, Rob.
I was going to say, friend, if we can persuade your contact perhaps to provide us with some maintenance uniforms, perhaps some light maintenance equipment to act as a cover. We may not be able to move with impunity dressed as Imperials. We don't have current codes and security clearance. But if we could go undetected, having entered the facility as maintenance staff, this might get us where we need. And potentially we could get some cells open and some people freed.
Dan, what you know,
Yes.
this map here that you've got of
Yeah.
Trivar Imperial Detention Center.
Yeah.
I guess that on the top left there, that's the landing pad, isn't it?
Landing pad here.
Yeah, and then
Maintenance. The maintenance that you're saying the ground entrance is. So I'll just move this. Oops. Is down here. Oops. This road that comes in down here.
yeah, okay, so that's the ground access maintenance.
Yeah, that's
And
the
then-
ground access one.
It looks like to me there are, which of those would be detention areas?
I can tell you. So that is because you do know. So 1 second.
Those two circular areas look pretty much like they've got cells around the outside and a command
They
console.
do,
in the
don't
middle.
they?
Yeah. So I can tell you. So we'll go through it just so you know where we are. So this down the bottom. So
Yep.
from when you were there, because you went in most places, this is the warehouse and deliveries building. So this is the area that you spoke about as one of the entrance ways in. Then this is the maintenance building at this point here. Okay.
Yep.
And then that leads us to the administration building. So then all your admin and all the information is all in this place here. Then you have prisoner processing. That's what this is called here. Now, you know these buildings, we haven't necessarily been to all of the buildings, but you've been able to acquire the information of which each of these blocks are.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the prisoner processing. Then you have the guard tower. So then this is like the main area where the guards are stationed in between, and so overlooking on a high tower to oversee everything. And then you have the detention cell blocks, which is this large circular one here. And here. So there's 2 detention blocks, these and this. And then lastly, the high security cell block is this one.
Okay, they're going to be in there, aren't they?
Okay.
So which way do we think is the
Wow.
way to go then?
It strikes me that if we've potentially got access through Fren to the maintenance company supplier, if we can get maintenance company uniforms and so on, well, I think if we fly in a hacked droid transport, we're either going to wander into sort of prisoner processing or like the top end of the building above maintenance, which is perhaps a bit high profile.
That's so that's administration.
Yeah.
It's just so you know, that's the admin block and that's prisoner processing block.
Yeah, so prisoner processing you would have thought would be relatively sort of organized and secure, and the admin block are going to know what's going on. If we came in through the warehouse into the maintenance area in maintenance uniforms with a bit of kit, we've potentially got access to everywhere else, but also directly over to the central prisoner block initially. What we could do is use the hacked droid with the speeder, the sort of recognized speeder, as our escape route.
Yes.
Because we're going to want to get out by air if we can. Maybe we need to get to the guard tower and disable something so that we don't get shot down. Maybe if we've
We
got
could while
broadcast.
we're there, we could hack the droid while we're there and basically trigger it to bring the speeder
Yeah.
So we can get off there quick.
I think that makes, particularly if it all turns to chaos inside,
Which it will.
one way or the other. If we can get in as maintenance personnel, and we perhaps we explore friends contacts, we get Doloth's contact ready to transfer a lot of the sort of weapons and focus onto the other side of the city.
Yeah.
And I'll contact my guy and to see what he can give us, maybe in terms of getting to this store that we need to get to contact friends contact. He might be able to help us get through some of the local patrols if I can talk him around. Then if we come in as maintenance engineers, the only challenge then is we need to find where they're being held. I think we can be pretty confident it's probably the secure processing. So we would need to get through as maintenance personnel through at least one prisoner detention area without being stopped, questioned, searched too badly, and perhaps find a way to open a ton of these cells while we're there. So if anyone's got any ideas, that would be
could we okay, could we, I think like the diversion works well. Could we come in through the ground floor, get into maintenance, trigger a release in the detention block, move through that, cause a bit of chaos, and then move through that area while they're cleaning up, mopping up, and get to the high security. We're going to need to know where they are, aren't we?
What was on the left again? Sorry, the hexagonal one, well, octagonal one on the left, and the squashed octagonal one down below it. So,
yes,
yeah,
that's maintenance. That's maintenance.
That was maintenance.
Yeah, that one's
that's
admin.
So it feels like, you know, if we're going to be
detention cells are here
/
and here.
maintenance people, we're going to go through this route from here to here.
Well, we were talking about coming in by
yeah.
road.
Okay.
Because it's less obvious than speeder, because this is like the delivery straight into. So we would come in dressed as maintenance engineers, straight into maintenance. Then all we need is a reason to sort of get into the detention blocks. Now, there's a couple of things I think we need to do. We need to be able to release a few detention doors, and I think all of us would be very pleased to see. You know, some of these are Imperial political prisoners, so they're people who are going to be against the Empire, but also are perhaps there for spurious reasons. And there's also, you know, they're going to be rebel sympathizers and all sorts in here. We could do with a couple of things. We need to release the containment in at least one, if not both of these areas. And I think one thing that would really help us when we're in there is someone with leadership skills, say somebody who is maybe a rebel recruiter, to stand up and broadcast some kind of message through the central systems or the consoles or the comm units, whatever, to try and rally those people so that they're not just sitting in their cages wondering what's happening next, but they know that they're being broken free, something bad is happening, and to rally them against Imperial oppression, so that while some of them will be pretty bad criminals and might just run amok and try and get out of there and sort of get away, some of them might also rally to our cause and give us some aid in terms of a distraction in another area, or some bodies to join us in a fight if they're competent. We could overwhelm a security station and take some weapons and make ourselves a little army.
It sounds like a great plan. I think if we can move some of the Imperial forces away, it feels like this should be very achievable.
The first thing that Jackson wants to do is contact his contact in the local security force, see if he can sway him to our cause, particularly as a native Alderanian, and just see what access he has and how he can help us. I think as a minimum, he can probably help us get to the store that Friends contact as the supplier, may be able to get us some uniforms, some equipment, some passes, something like that. I mean, Friends got passes. And then we also need, I mean, even if we are going to approach as a maintenance crew by road, at the moment, I suspect we're going to hit a lot of Imperial or local security patrols, blockades, locked us. So we're going to need to try and find a way around that. Once we've got an idea of what he might be able to help us out with, I think the one piece of the puzzle missing is, or the couple of pieces, is finding out exactly where they're located and potentially how we override and unlock some of those doors. Because I think once chaos is ensuing, it's easier to get into a room, take out a couple of people and hack a computer console. But I think it's difficult for us to walk into high security as maintenance personnel and then shoot a couple of guys and hack a we sort of already need the place to be in chaos before we go in for the pilots. Any thoughts?
Dan, what do we realistically, what do we have as means of transport? Because like I'm looking at, like, you know, we're over here in a safe house. We've got to get over to here.
Yeah.
So you currently you have no transport at all. Your speeder that you'd had was over by the tower block, and it was all surrounded by snowtroopers. So you had to. It was near one of their like the road blockades, the checkpoints. So you've had to abandon that for now. And
Could
also,
we-
you know, due to lockdown, there is no non-authorized vehicle travel allowed in the city at the moment. So
Could we use that speeder? That not a speeder. Was it a speeder? Yeah, the one
With
that's
hacked droid.
basically yes, yeah, the air speeder. Could
Okay,
we
so
use the air speeder to get close, and then get the air speeder to just wait somewhere?
Well, there's a couple of things I'm thinking. One of which is we don't want to sort of blow our load too early on the airspeeder, because if it behaves erratically, they might like bring it in and check the droid and try and work out what's going on.
Yeah.
The other thing is we don't know yet, until Friends made touch with her supplier contact, what he can get us. It might be that he's got a maintenance vehicle with like registered logs and stuff. It might not be, but maybe I get in touch with my contact and Friend gets in touch with hers, which will give us the full picture of like the people we have on board and the potential logistics, and then we formulate our plan.
okay, so so Jackson, do you want to? Is that what you're doing? Do you want to make contact first thing with Arid? Is that the plan? Is that?
I think at the moment, until I know exactly what he can do for us and whether we can sway him to our cause, we don't know the full extent of our resources. So I'm going to contact Arid, and just so I've obviously he doesn't know that I'm a rebel agent, but I have his comlink. So I'm just going to sort of message him on his comlink and see if he responds.
Okay, so I'm just going to show this first. So I don't know if you can has that appeared for you guys?
It has.
Yep. Oh. Yeah. So that's Arid. So Arid Ardrius, however we are going to pronounce his amazingly written surname. So he works for he's for the Glare Peak Civilian Guard. Just so everyone knows who he is. So okay, so you bleep him, and it takes a little while before it answers, and then finally the comm answers at the other end. It goes, "You call me now, today, of all days? Did you want me to get killed?"
I say, I call you now because now is the only time that matters. Can you speak securely? Are you in a quiet place?
I am, but this needs to be fast. So, I assume the events of today are down to you lot.
So some of them are out of our control, but now is the time to act. Two things are happening here. One, the fate of the rebellion is hanging in the balance. The might of the Imperium is coming down to crush the rebels and to take the information that is on the crashed speeder and contained in the minds of the two pilots that they took from it. And that might is being brought about by none other than Lord Vader himself, the man who stood aboard the Death Star as Alderaan was destroyed. We have to act. We have to rescue the pilots from the detention center. I appreciate you are in a very difficult position, my friend, but if there is any assistance that you could give us in gaining access to the detention center or some form of free travel around the city, you would be doing the rebels a great favor, and you would be doing the Imperials a great stab in the back.
I don't understand what I can do. I have no jurisdiction with the detention center. I'm part of the civil guard. I'm waiting to be told what to do today after the mess that's going around in this place with the lockdown and everything. I mean, what can I do?
So we need a number of things. One, we need to be able to move around the streets, at least to some degree. we have a building that we need to get to a local store where we feel another agent of ours will be able to help us gain access to the facility. Obviously, travel is difficult. Any assistance you could provide there would be more than fantastic, or any form of distraction or lax action in certain areas, poor coordination, things that couldn't be traced back to you, of course, but things that would just delay a response that would allow us the ability to travel within the city.
But if it is traced back to me, I'll be killed. I have a family. I mean, what can you do for me?
If it is traced back to you, you'll be killed. If these prisoners are interrogated, it will mean death for millions. We all have to make our sacrifices.
I'm just going to sort of put a hand out to Silent and just say, in addition, you strike me as a man of action, a man who can get things done. We need men like you in the rebellion. You've seen firsthand what the Empire can do, what it's willing to do out there in the galaxy. It is not a force for good or a force for stability. It is a force of evil. The Empire is not everlasting. The Empire will be brought low, but it can only happen while the rebellion endures. If you would be willing to join the rebellion, we can protect yourself and your family. We can give you the coordinates of our safe house. Our compatriot here will protect your family if you can get them here securely without drawing attention. And we can bring you into the fold of the rebellion and give you purpose, my friend.
Okay.
Jared, the Force protects.
So, Jackson, can I get either whichever is better for you, either a charm or a leadership? And I need an average charm or leadership.
Okay.
And you get 1 blue dice added to your pool.
Okay, so I'm going to hit leadership. I'm going to put 2 purple dice in the pool, and I'm going to put 1 blue die in, and click
Make
off.
sure you click off.
And this is my leadership.
So we got 2 successes, 3 successes. So that goes to 2 successes.
Yeah.
And then you've got 2 cancelled out there, but you also got a triumph. So you actually got 3 successes, a triumph. Okay. So there's a pause at the other end. You know he's still on the line because you can hear the static. He hasn't gone anywhere. Okay. I can move you around the city. Tell me where you are. Send me your coordinates. I can move through the city. I can move through these checkpoints. Tell me where you are. I can get you to the warehouse that you need to go to, the store. But you need to promise me, as soon as I've dropped you there, you need to put me in hiding. Put me into this safe house. And then you need to guarantee when this is all over, I get safe passage to the rebel fleet.
I'll say, I make you both of those promises right now, my friend. I will send you our coordinates, and these are the coordinates that you will immediately come back to with your family, having dropped us off. This is our safe house where you will lie low until we rescue the pilots and rendezvous with the fleet. The rebellion will save us all from this safe house, and from there, we will turn this galaxy around. I cannot thank you for your service today. You have done more than I could expected from you. You're a true hero. And I'll
send me the coordinates. I will be there in 15 minutes. And then he just clicks off straight away.
Yeah. I'll make sure I've sent him the coordinates to the safe house. And, you know, hopefully we've laid the Alderaan story on thick enough that we don't get betrayed.
Okay.
Where was the safe house again? The safe house is on the top left block,
so
it's over there somewhere.
So this was the crash site here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is your tower block that you were working on, and then your safe house is here.
Yeah.
Just on this little bit here. Okay, so you'd escaped across here, and you're hidden in the safe house at this point here. Okay, so you got about 15 minutes.
Right. So I'm
he's on his way.
Just turn to Fren and just say, Fren, please contact the supplier. We have access to his store. We can get there, find out what he's able to provide us. Ideally, we need maintenance uniforms, and if we can, some form of legitimate maintenance access to the detention center. If we can't secure that, we will have to rely on the speeder to get us there and the droid that Silent has hacked.
I will contact him right away, so he's expecting us. And then she goes on a data pad, and so she's not doing it, she's like typing in onto a data pad.
Okay, I'm going to sort of nod over just towards Doloth and to say, Doloth, we need to craft the message for your contact, and we need to decide when to send it to best achieve the shift in military power across the city. I leave that to you, my friend. You and Silent are the experts in this area.
Agreed. If we move too soon, then we risk them realizing that that it is a false alarm, and increasing the presence in the place where we least want it. I fear we probably want to time this for the point where we actually are en route to onto our destination, onto the detention center, and we should send this message. I will send it to my contact, Furlan, at the point where we are just about to enter, and we can hold a pattern. Hopefully, through your contact, hold a pattern before we enter the detention center to ensure that maximum troopers have left the facility before we try to enter.
I think that's a fantastic idea. This is why the two of you are invaluable to the operation. Backlash could not succeed without you.
You are too kind, good sir. We are all invaluable.
So just another little bit for geography for you, just so you know. So again, so safe house is here, okay, and then crash site, and then the tower here. This is the detention block you see up on here.
Yeah.
And then Hal's warehouse is just down in here. This is where Fren is contacting Hal. That's down in this area here.
That's good then. So if Erid is able to get us that far across the city, that's fantastic. We're not going to have to worry about getting back past the crash site and so on. We're at least closer in terms of the ability to pitch out towards the tower. Okay.
Let us make our way to the warehouse. Before we exit the warehouse, I will trigger the alarm to alert the ISB troopers to the southwestern part of the city.
The force is with us, my friends. We will succeed today.
So Fren then comes back off on the data pad and said, Hal is expecting us. We should make haste and get there quickly. We should just make sure he has no weapons at all. But at the end, he is maintenance. But he says he can provide us with equipment we need. But I think we need to go speak to him. I'm sure we can convince him of our cause.
I agree, Fren. And your experience in this city is going to prove invaluable to the rebel cause this day. I think as long as we have enough maintenance equipment and maintenance storage boxes to hide the weapons we own, we have all we need to create chaos and to free these poor pilots and many, many more who are impressed by the Imperium.
Hal owns the warehouse, doesn't he?
Yeah, just to be clear, before we head off, in the safe house, there is a spare blaster and some explosives. So do either of you need a blaster? And I believe we should take the explosives to ensure that we can access the detention center should we need to.
Yeah, I don't have a gun. I've got a blade, but I don't have a gun. I think.
Cool. Well, I'm sorted for a blaster. I don't know what Fren is armed with and whether Fren is intending to join us. Although if Fren is tagging along, that would be great because Fren has, good knowledge of the detention center as well. So, yeah, is Fren coming with us, Dan?
Could ask her. Are you asking her?
Yeah, absolutely. I will. I mean, she said we need to go at full haste, so I was assuming that she's coming with us to Hal's store. I'll turn to her and I'll say, Fren, you have been invaluable to the rebellion for a long time, longer than I have been in Glare Peak. I leave the choice to you as to whether you accompany my contact and I believe a strong new hope for the rebellion back to the safe house and protect him and his family until we extract, or if you wish to come with us to the detention centre. The choice is entirely yours.
Doloth will kind of look at her and say, "Are you prepared to put your money where your mouth, wherever that is?"
Over here somewhere.
I will be coming with you to see my friend Hal. However, I feel it best I don't go to the detention center. I'm known there. I worked there for 3 years, and they may recognize me as the Athelian that was fired.
Yes.
I understand. I think you're right in this, and I would be happier if one of my own agents was protecting Ered and his family on the return, because I did promise him safe passage, and I'm unable to guarantee that myself until we return. So I appreciate your efforts and diligence. In which case, I think at the moment the blaster probably goes to Lelsk. The explosives we definitely need, and potentially if we find and free somebody out there, we can either like share the blaster around, or we can find them more blasters, because the place is bound to have an armory.
Yeah, bound to be.
Is it a does it say, Mickey, was it a what when it says a blaster, is it a blaster pistol or is it a blaster rifle? So the one that you already have, similar to the one you have.
It says you've established a safe house, you've stashed a spare blaster rifle
Blaster
and
rifle.
some
Great.
explosives
Okay.
inside.
Okay.
Now let's just check our skills, because it might be that. Oh, that's really annoying.
So that would use ranged heavy.
Yes, let's just see who's carrying the
Well,
most appropriate weapon here.
I am very good with ranged light. The blaster rifle will not be great in my hands at all. I mean, I'm 3 green dice on it, but it's nothing special, and it's also not. So to I would almost rather give it to a random psychopath and watch him go nuts with it than
Ranged light, ranged heavy. I'm no good with ranged weapons at all.
No, I mean you're silent.
Yeah, but it's handy to have if there's an opponent at a distance.
And the other thing is, it might be handy to stash in, a maintenance crate somewhere, just in case we get searched and one of the crates gets taken off us with Doloth's sniper rifle in or something. Then there's another weapon in there for Doloth as well. So I think we make sure that we'll see what Hal can provide us, but we'll certainly package up, if we can, some weapons separately in some different boxes and see which ones we can get through.
Yep.
Okay, so in the next sort of few moments, you're preparing yourselves. Doloth, you're getting the explosives that you have. They're like the small sort of like round little charges that you can have. They're very, the magnetic can click onto things and set timers on them. There's in total you have 10 of them, but definitely something that you can have a few of them about your body and the rest of them just like in like a bag of some kind, like a little hold all. But you can either distribute them out amongst you, or you can be the explosive guy. It's up to you. But you're just getting all your equipments and everything ready and making sure you've got everything, checking equipment, stim packs, all those things. And
is there
then
a skill for the use of explosives?
So explosives are used using mechanics, a mechanics check.
I'm 2 green dice on mechanics, so having me place explosives could be dangerous. And for once, I'm not going to suggest somebody wears all 10 of them like some kind of sausage belt and runs in, trying to get through security and talking their way through.
That'd be a silly thing to do.
I'm 3
I'm
green
not doing
dice.
that.
What about you,
Two.
Lesk?
Two.
Okay. So Doloth, I think you're best off keeping them.
I really feel like
I carry 6 and you guys have 2 each.
Yeah, I think just in case, that's a good plan.
Yeah, in case you
I
die.
also think when we get to Hal's, if he's got any containers with maintenance equipment in, if we can get lots of sort of tools, mechanical equipment that we can put on top of, our safely stowed weapons, so that if it goes through scanners, it's harder to detect weaponry in that equipment manifest. We might want to split some weapons out between a few different crates to hopefully sneak everything through. But we can see when we get to Hal's.
Sounds good.
And at that point, Jackson, your comm just blips, does like a double blip, 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 but no, doesn't say anything. It's just like a double blip.
I'll just nod to the room and just say, I believe our transport is here. Gentlemen and ladies, gentleman and 2 ladies, let's go. We need to move.
Okay. So you make your way out, and sure enough, you can see down on the corner, like hidden away, tucked away. You can just see the nose of a speeder, what looks to be a civilian guard speeder, from what you can tell, but it is very much like hidden away. To your left when you come out of the safe house, like where you are, it is in a very, it literally is. It's like a safe, really secluded little zone. It's a little bit like not quite a shanty town, but it's like building on, nestled all in together. It's you can't really get straight line views to main routes, but the one little viewport that you have got, you can see a snowtrooper blockade down the very far end of the left, and where this civilian, what looks to be the civilian guard speeder, is just off to your right, just down one of the alleyways, just like sticking out.
Right.
What looks to be waiting for you.
Jackson will, as he knows who he assumes will be the contact, will lead on, trying to draw as little attention to himself as possible, but looking confident, and head straight for the guard speeder.
And then on your way, is there a perception? There is a perception, right? Let me just check that.
There is.
Could you give me an easy perception? No, what's the skill?
Yeah, there's perception based on cunning. There's also
general skills perception.
Yeah, there's a few. There's perception, and there was another one as well.
I'll tell you what it is. It's vigilance. Vigilance.
Vigilance.
Vigilance. Yeah, it's vigilance. Can you just give me an easy vigilance as you're leading?
I'm glad you said vigilance. I'm much better at that. That's a class skill. Right, dice into pool. Easy. So 1 purple. Click off.
Yep.
No blues. Gotcha.
So yeah, they cancel each other. Yeah, that's fine. You're all good. So as you approach, you're getting down towards there, and you can see that it is your contact, and he's sat there in the thing, and he's anxiously looking all around him, and then he sees you as you're approaching, and he just like kind of stands up. It's like the speeder itself is one of those slightly more. It's in the beginning of, you imagine when they first go to Mos Eisley in the original. Can you remember there's like that quite hexagonal speeder that comes past them?
Yeah,
it's one of those, but open top. So it's got a very like all angular front of it, and he stands up and it does that like the wallow of the Star Wars speeders.
Yeah,
and he goes, "Hurry up, quickly!" And it's quite a long speeder, so it's got room for you guys to all get in. But yes,
I'll hop in up front with him if I can, and sort of direct everyone behind, because at least he can introduce, and I've got some charm and persuasion skills and things if need be. And I won't say anything else to him as we get in, other than I'll just very briefly, I won't introduce him to the team, but I will just introduce him to Fren briefly and say, "This is Fren, one of my most trusted agents. She will be returning with you from here to ensure the protection of you and your family until we can extract."
And have you spoken to your superiors? You'll get me off here, right? Safe travel to the fleet.
I say my task here is to recruit. You are now under my protection. You are a member of the rebellion, my friend. We protect our own.
Okay. He just takes a moment to gather it force, and it's almost like he's like, it's now or never for him. So and then he just hits it, bang, and this thing has got some speed, and he's off down and flying through, and he drifts around onto the main, and he seems to be not taking any of the main roads. He knows his way around the city pretty well, so he brings you down through past the. Are you on? Can you see that? Yeah, I've got you on this one. Yeah. Okay, so he brings you down this way, and he brings you down past here. But instead of, there's still absolute chaos all down here because of what's happening at this. There's huge amounts of Imperial activity all around where the crash site is. But what he does is he kind of brings you around like this route up at the top here and down through this moment. And it's almost like on his way here, he's fully aware of where the checkpoints are and where any road blockades are. And he's more than adequate in dodging any of these roadblocks or anything that's happening. And he brings you down this way into a familiar view as it comes around this way, and you can see your tower block that you were close by. And he does actually come round into this point here, and he does get stopped at a checkpoint. But it's purely just a single officer and a single snowtrooper. It's like one of the very smaller, almost like a little smaller service road that kind of comes off from the main area. and doesn't last long. He literally slows down, flashes his ID. There's a very, very cursory look at the vehicle and you guys in it, and he's just waved on, and he's just moved on at a great speed. And then as you're coming around here into this area, you're getting close to where it is. But he says he's going to drop you here. He knows of road blockades that are all round towards the front of where it is, and he says it's too risky. It's too risky for me now to take you in by vehicle. If you come out here by foot, and if you swing round the back, there are just probe droids. I've just seen some of the security droids circulating in that area. But if you can get round that way, go carefully. I will now drive up round there. They know I've come this way. They questioned why I was coming that way. I told them I was just on a patrol. They're expecting to see me back due to on my sweep. I'll now go back round that way. If you want to go down the bottom, Hal's is 2 blocks down that way.
I'll just put a hand on his shoulder and just say, you have done a great service today. You are a true son of Alderaan, and I will see you at the safe house soon. A new life starts here, my friend, and the world and the universe, the galaxy will be better. And then we'll hop out and we'll make it for the side streets.
Yeah, okay. So, and he goes off at great speed, again, up and round the top onto like the main routes through and out of sight. So on your way now, so you're pretty close. He's dropped you here, and Hal's is literally like just around the corner from where you are. Could you just give me a group stealth check, please? And it's just an average stealth check, please.
So is that individually or the best?
No, so group. So whoever's got like the best on the stealth, if you can give me a.
I think my stealth is 1 yellow, 1 green.
4 greens.
Ooh, I don't think I can beat 4 greens. I have 3 greens. I think 4 greens is.
Mike might be a. Is not Mike a better one with 1 yellow, 2 greens?
The 1 yellow, as I understand it, has obviously got a better chance of like you can get a success and an advantage.
Yeah, you can get triumphs, and it's got more advantages on it. Yeah.
And then with the green dice, we've just got more volume of potential success scores.
What do you want to do, Mike? You choose.
I think you should do it actually, because we don't need to triumph on this. We just need to succeed, don't we?
No pressure.
And you were rolling better last week than we were, so
right. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So stealth, and then you need to add 2 purples.
2 purples. Okay, I'll do them separately. Sorry.
Yep.
Oh, just passed by 1, but there is a
disadvantage.
It's okay. So you passed, but your disadvantage, and your disadvantage here is that as a group, I'd like you all to take 1 strain because of the dodging the probe droids. It just like it was very close, and it was just like how close you are to getting to this place, and it was just a little too close. So everyone just takes a single strain.
Dan, my strain is still at 5 from previous.
You can reset it. Everyone's strain. Yeah. So take it back to the top. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's now.
Nobody realised that this whole way Silent was just shitting themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Just gradually ticking down.
Yeah.
Oh, everything hurts. Stupid Jim, Mike, you and your stupid exercise.
I feel great. I haven't exercised a day in my life, and I feel amazing, and my insides are full of beer. You guys are idiots.
Why are you in pain? Why are you in pain?
Weights. And my triceps are not used to it.
Is it the feeling of? Is it the ache of achievement? Is it the feeling of? Is it the feeling of weakness leaving the body?
No, it's the feel of weakness being there. Full stop. Just everything hurts. Anyway,
good.
Okay, so as you get around the corner, you can see there's a sign that says Hal's Goods and Services. Okay, so there's a sign for his, and you can see what looks like a shop entrance around the corner, and then bolted onto the back to it is a larger warehouse. That's clearly where all the stock and everything is all kept in. And as you're walking up towards the store itself, a small hatch opens, very small door opens up, and I'll show you this. Oops, wrong one. Sorry.
What did we do before we started role playing again? This is the greatest.
I was thinking. You know what? I was thinking about it before. I was thinking about what was I doing with
Oh,
all my
yeah.
creative energy? Oh yeah, that's so
Oh.
cool. How cool.
Yeah.
This this little door opens up, and this little fella pops out and goes, "Here, friend, in here, quick, get in here!"
I like his pants.
And he disappears inside, and the doorway is what looks like it goes into the warehouse.
Awesome. Right. Well, let's follow him. I'll let you guys and if Fren is with us, I'll let you guys and Fren lead as the stealthiest.
He's got 4 arms.
Yeah. Two hands in his pocket and still a hand free
Yeah.
and a gun.
Put in twig
Well,
gun
that allows you to masturbate at the same time as turning the pages of the magazine.
and shoot.
The only thing more disturbing than that comment is I thought the exact same thing at the same time.
I was thinking you could masturbate and shoot people at the same time. So I suppose
Oh
that's
my God.
hopefully that's
I mean, whatever turns you on.
Even darker, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so as you make your wait, Wayne, it's a bit of a squeeze through this little small hatch, but you get in there, and it's a pretty massive warehouse with all the various different maintenance. You know, there's so much different stuff in there, and he's still got a few employees. Even in lockdown, they're kind of all just shuffling around in there because they can't go anywhere. They've all effectively been locked in at the moment. And Hal just like says, "Right, through here, quick, come on." And he takes you through into another little back room, and there's just a couple of guys in there, just like, you know, fixing up some stuff. He goes, "You lot, get out, quick!" And he sends off his staff, and he goes, "So then, what's this all about, friend? What's going on?" Friend explains to him that continues the conversation they've had over on the data pad and lets him know what's happening, and then introduces you, Jackson, as being the one who's recruited Fren into the cause, and right now any help that they can get, you know, they really need it. So what can I do for you?
You can do everything for us, my friend. We only need a small favor, but it will mean the world to the galaxy. We cannot live under this oppression. We need access to the detention center. We're hoping we can do it in the guise of maintenance workers, uniforms, equipment, anything that we could perhaps carry some equipment and items in that we may disguise weapons in. We need to free the 2 pilots, as friends explained. They hold the key to the continued existence of the rebellion. Without them, Vader and his cronies will crush this galaxy in their iron fist.
I hate those guys. I
All
really
right, those
do.
bastards.
Well, I mean, I go up there most days, so they're used to seeing me up there. Let's have a think. And at that point, Rob, can you just give me I need a charm
Okay.
check, please? An easy charm check.
Easy charm. Okay, let's add the dice. Let's go with an purple. Click off. Right, easy charm roll.
You did it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
One complication.
So he goes,
2 successes.
yeah, I think I could. And then the other hand comes up, and he scratches in there, and then a third hand just scratches the top of his head. Yeah, I think we could do something. I think I could help you out. As it happens, I think I've got a delivery that's got to be up there. I tell you what, get yourself in the warehouse, get yourself some overalls. You could be my workmates for the day. Get yourself some overalls, got all the sizes in there. Have a look what equipment you need. I guess you'll be needing, what will you need? Hydro spanners, maybe, some things like that. Help yourself, get the stuff you need from through there. Get yourself some overalls. Yeah, I'll go get the truck. And he kind of leaves the little room and he goes off, shuffles out. So now really just have a think about the equipment that you think you're going to need, and then we can see if Hal stocks it.
Right. So I think we could do with a couple of either bags or boxes, and the more, I mean, everything presumably is going to be either scanned or looked at, although if Doloth's message goes out before we go here, it might be slightly lighter than we expect with the chaos in the city. and we're not obviously not going to be able to walk in as maintenance people with weapons on our hips and sniper rifles on our backs.
Some kind of trolley we need,
Yeah,
don't we?
and ideally like a couple of different boxes that we put. I mean, I was thinking we could do a couple of different boxes with like a few sort of spanners or we need tools and maybe anything electrical, like if we've got any sort of power cells.
Right. What about this? What about this, lads?
Okay.
Right. So if you had a tub of something, what would make you want to not put your hand in it? What would it be?
I mean, do maintenance engineers carry human feces?
Well,
nuclear generator.
yeah, something like, oh, you don't want to put your hand in there. It's either got food waste or body waste, or maybe maybe there's a problem with the toilets.
And we're delivering body waste to put in them to make them better.
The
only thing I would say is I don't think they're going to be opening the boxes and putting their hands in and going, yeah, it's fine. I think it's going to go through scanners. So I think what we need is we need a number of tools and things at the top, or that will show on the scanners. It's like an airport scanner. And then we need maybe power cells, anything electromagnetic that might just disturb that signal and mask the weapons. And I was originally thinking, like, if we took 3 different boxes and we put all our weapons in different boxes, but then if one of those boxes comes up as a positive ID for a weapon, it's not like they're going to go, oh, we'll take that box off you, but you crack on, boys, you go and do the maintenance. So actually, maybe we just want one big box with a little trolley and put in it, the weapons at the bottom, possibly with a sheet over, like a steel sheet or another sub box, so they're protected, not crushed. And then I think any kind of fusion cells, spanners and stuff. I suppose the other question is, if we're going to want to access the high security areas and potentially the prison stuff, let's see if he's got anything like, lock mechanisms or bits of equipment that would interact with a lock mechanism. We could be coming to do routine maintenance on like cell doors, and we might be able to actually take some, useful bits of kit that could plug in and interface with the locks and help us, unlock something. I don't know.
I was going to say that. What about, or the other thing is, could we get, I don't know if this is even appropriate or not, but could we get stormtrooper outfits and actually go in dressed as stormtroopers?
Not sure the maintenance crew are going to have stormtrooper outfits, but if he has, we definitely take him.
Fair point.
But I suppose what we're looking for is a disguise, isn't it? We're looking for a disguise and a way to hide weapons. So I think we appeal to Emperor Dan for obviously maintenance overalls. I would say anything in a box that provides a confusing electromagnetic signature without damaging
to close the sensors. I think that's a sound plan.
But also I think I would this is one of those points where I would do what I like to think of as bad role playing ish and say, GM, can I make a check on ... But like, if somebody's good at computers, for example, because I think, and I know Silent, you hacked the door in the last session, I think there's a chance we're not necessarily going to be going up to individual cell doors and like hacking Imperial security, but we might need to interface with some of the Imperial consoles to release prisoners and stuff. So in the absence of proper passcodes, which we might also be able to get through murder, coercion and other stuff, anything we've got that will help us slice computer systems would be useful.
I'm not particularly good at computers, but I have got skullduggery.
Ah, yeah.
So skullduggery is like the equivalent of where you can use that to slice, but really it's almost like using your blade to get in and kind of pop the lock. But it's like skullduggery. It could be any means. It could literally be that in a past life, in a former life, you did know a little bit of lock hacking. So it could still be computer based, but it's using skullduggery as opposed to like an educated computer skill that does it. So skullduggery is still a skill that can be used to do some computer hacking, lock picking, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Like maybe if you're, I don't know whether it's relevant, but maybe if a skullduggery check could help you identify things that you'd be like, look, this is for fixing toilets, but actually if we had 2 of these, we could bypass a lock system or
Yeah, have they got any like little handheld little little security? We could kind of like little lock hack, basically a sci-fi lock pick.
So what he does have, he does have, what it is they're because they're a maintenance, effectively they're a maintenance supplier, so like for electronics and things like that. Okay, and what they do have is it's a small iron pad, and so it's like ionizer. What it does is, so you know how iron cannons work. So when an iron cannon does, it basically takes all the energy, right? It drains the energy away from it.
Yeah.
What this does is it sits in an isolated area, stops power, so people can work on things, and then you take it back off again, and then it restores power. So it's like a circuit breaker kind of thing. He has those, so you can absolutely have get a couple of those. That would work well. And then the other things as you're looking are things like hydro spanners. So hydro spanners in a Star Wars world are like things that have electric charges through them that help you to like have extra power and wrench power on things like that. So you could effectively get in there and get a toolkit for yourselves. That would absolutely be the kind of things that you'll need.
I think it's a great idea. If we can get a sort of an even mix between random tools that make us look like we know what we're doing and tools that we may actually be able to do a bit with, like the ion stuff, that's ideal. And then we can hopefully bury the weapons in a cache of those, have them on a trolley, and we'll be world-weary engineers who still have to carry on despite the apocalypse.
Maybe just one thermal detonator.
I'm sure the maintenance crew carry them. If they do, we need them. I mean, access to ports. I mean, the other thing is, and anything that can generate a, like a plasma blade or something that can generate a cutting field, that would also be useful.
So there's welding, there's like welding torches, but to go with those, they have like quite a big power supply. They're like a power generator to generate the cut. So you'd have like a fairly hefty box, like a backpack kind of thing, a pretty bulky thing to take with you.
That generates quite a field, wouldn't it, as well?
They're pretty big.
Yeah, that generates a pretty hefty field. And that's another thing where on a cursory scan, if they were sort of busy and distracted, they might be like, you can't take that in there. And we'd be like, oh God, we're gonna have to work without it. But we can let them have it, if it goes terribly wrong, but we get in with the stuff we really need. So I think, but one bulky power pack and one welding torch between us is a good idea. And if we get away with it, maybe we can use that power source to do something else.
Okay, so you're gathering all these things together, and then at the back of the warehouse that you're in, like a rolling shutter goes up, and then like this speeder truck kind of starts backing in, pulling in towards you and everything, and then pops his head out the window. It's our little friend. He goes, "You got what you needed?"
Thank you, Hal. We have everything we need. You have done us proud today.
Stick it all on that trolley, then you can float it in the back yourselves. And there's like a little like a low rise like you would see in factories, but it's a hover. It's like a little hover
dolly thing. Yep. Awesome. Yeah, I'll start pushing that forwards and just say, another day in the life of a maintenance engineer, and give him a grin.
Kind of looks at you and then, and then gets himself comfortable back in his seat. And then at the same time, he then calls over and goes, "Hey, you lot," and then to the other guys working there, "That mean you have to stop working? Come on, load it up." And then they bring him in the stuff that he would be doing normally for his normal delivery up to the detention center. So he's like, they're packing in like loads of various different stuff. Like it's lots of stuff for the maintenance company that's in there. It's like electrical stuff and everything that they're piling in all these different crates and stuff in the back.
I think there's some metaverse racial profiling going on here.
I was just going to say, the thing I love most about this is that the sneaky little underhanded provider of things, he's basically a halfling from D&D. Dan's got the exact same accent as all my D&D Cockney halflings.
Yeah, I was like, this is totally racist. This is basically.
I mean, there was that one terrible episode during Waterdeep that I don't think we recorded, thankfully, that where I said that all halflings were Cockneys because they were all untrustworthy, and I was like, no, I don't mean it like that. I mean, it was a bad thing to say.
Yeah, it's okay. That wasn't recorded, but this one is.
This one is.
The phrase I was looking for was wheeler dealers.
And you just said it.
I will say
it,
worse before the end.
Sorry. Come.
In fairness,
glad you spied that
it's
too.
recorded, and Mickey was talking about masturbating and holding a gun at the same time. But if,
I mean,
if a
to be
little
fair-
Cockney accent, if the Cockney accent's the worst thing, yeah, we're all right. We're all right.
Yeah,
But
good point.
anyone who knows Mickey, that's not going to be a surprise, is it? You know, that's on his Facebook profile.
He's basically he's got like a what's PPK? What's PPK? What's PPK? What's PPK? What an image.
Pew, pew.
Okay, so the truck itself's all loaded up now, and then obviously Hal himself is in the driving seat, and then the cab has room for, it's got like a seating, so two can sit next to him on the front, but then there's also quite big seats back. It's like a triple cab, so we could fit quite a few people in there. So if you want to tell me like where you're all going to sit. Meanwhile, Fren is just outside the cab, sorry, just outside the speeder, and said that you know, she just says that I hope everything goes to plan. I'm going to head back now to the safe house, and I'll await the return of your friend there. I'll keep you informed of anything that I hear on the chatter, on the scanners. If I feel like I need to give you any information, so keep your comlink available on the secure channel.
That's it, always, friend. And your efforts today have been the most helpful of all. But ensure the safety of what's her name and his family, who's really hard to say because
What's the name?
I promised it.
Eridagiris.
Thank you.
Yes.
The safety and Erid and his family are another of the many promises I've made on this planet that I do not intend to fail on. And I thank you for the effort in holding up my word. We will see you soon, I promise. At least some of us will.
Right, and then Halden just looks at you and goes, "Right, are we ready to go?" So you just need to tell me whereabouts are you sitting in the truck.
Jackson's definitely going to sit up front with some of his social and charm skills, just in case.
I'm happy to sit at the back because what I would like to do is just check the locator, check the tracking beacon on this airspeeder, this official airspeeder, just to see where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to start to think about moving it into a better location, or is actually
it currently seems to be stationary and over here, which plays to where it probably usually would be. So like the main buildings of like sort of the because he's the deputy assistant, isn't he? City assistant of the place. So which makes true like the mayor's office and the various different buildings of such are all on this kind of like the plateau that's up on this side. So it's currently just seems to be stationary up in here.
Okay. I think we'll just leave it there. I've just had a vision of taking charge of this speeder with the bloody administrator in it.
We'll
Don't
pitch
give
him out.
Don't give the Jim ideas. Don't give the Jim ideas.
The thing is, we certainly know the governor is
pitch him out.
Actually, the governor abuses even the local Imperial staff, but you know he'll surrender to Vader. I really thought you were going to say I want to sit in the back because Lausk wants to carve her initials into the back of the chair with a monoblade. I just saw you like the bad kid on the back of the bus.
Yeah, I'll do that then, please.
just don't leave anything where they can track your actual name in case this all goes to tits up.
I put JB.
Standard.
Put BJ instead.
And then Doloth, which seat of the truck do you want to be in?
I will take near the back, I think, or certainly near a window, like somewhere with a good ability to get a shot.
Although our guns are our guns currently packed in the crate in the back?
Yeah, guns are now in the back. Yeah.
Oh, okay. In that case,
well, they don't have to be. You can keep if you want to keep a weapon on you. Yeah, you can keep weapons on you.
Have we got any pistols? Probably didn't pick any up, did we?
I've got a blaster pistol. I've packed mine in the equipment, hoping that it will get through scanning and stuff if there is any.
I'll leave mine in the equipment because I think having a rifle on me could well blow the entire plan.
I need it to
Um,
fine tune the electrical system.
Yeah, it's how I test things. No,
You can't take this off me. How will I masturbate?
So the point, I'll take a seat near a window so I can keep an eye out because I've got big eyes.
Yep. And then silent. Have you
Rob's
got your blade on you?
No, that would not.
That
be a good
you
idea,
may
would it?
be able to get away with. Nobody knows it's got a mono edge. It could just be a tool.
I mean, I get the idea of just taking a
massive screwdriver.
blade. Does it? Is it like a? Does it? Doesn't open up? Does it? It's like a big blade, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a can opener. Might need some beans while we're eating.
I like to use a samurai sword as a screwdriver. That's how I roll. That's how my boss taught me.
I think it will have to go in the box with everything else.
We hope if we get the box through, then we immediately sort of tool up as stealthily as we can once we're in.
Yeah, just kind of like stick it in a tubular steel, bit of tubular steel or something like that.
And it just slowly slices its way through the tubular steel like alien acid, right out the bottom of the truck, through the drive shaft.
Yeah, through the.
Don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Will this show up? Can you see that, or is it not?
It's not.
It's not showing.
Just tilt it a little bit down. Tilt it a little bit.
You put it below your face. You need to keep your face in shot, and then it'll think it's your t-shirt.
Yes.
Get
get your. Oh, it's only a little, isn't it? Get your face a bit closer, please.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only little.
Just hide it in your pants.
One.
Is that a monoblade in your pants? Are you pleased to see me?
Yeah, it's a knife. It's basically a knife, isn't it?
You can go with that.
That's not a knife.
But how a vibro, like the vibro knife works is it's so it is literally sending through vibration through it to make sure that it, like when you activate it, it kind of has like a hum to it, and it kind of, that's why they're so lethal. Like and yours is even more so because of it's got the mono edge on it.
Dildo knife.
There we go. So you've got a knife that literally vibrates in your hand.
Yeah, let's stash that away somewhere. I don't want to walk in with that. That's not a good idea.
Okay.
What's humming in the box back there? Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Before you put it in the box.
Okay, so let's. So you're all loaded up. You're all good to go, and Hal pulls out. So we're all good to go. So we're making our way. So you're here now, and so Hal is now making a journey. And the main road for him to go, he's like heading up, and you can see this main road here. So as he's coming up in here, he's stopped by you can see a one of the roadblocks, one of the checkpoints coming up. And he pulls up and goes slow to that point. And the officer steps forward and asks him for his ID, which Hal's like, yeah, it's all right. You know, he's trying to sort of kind of talk his way through it. He kind of knows some of the Imperials in and around, but he shows the ID to him, and they have a little look at you guys. You're all in your uniforms and your overalls, and you're just waved on. And it's not a problem. And he moves you through, and Hal looks back and goes, see, that was easy. You're with Hal. It's all fine. And he carries on driving up through, and he's taking you up this way through here. And you get to another roadblock, and again, you're waved to slow down, and he slows down again. And he gives them he just flashes his ID and goes, just making my way up there. It's all right. I've got my ID. And the officer says to him, will you be quiet? Just give me that ID right now. And snatches it from him, looks at it and goes, and then looks at you all in the back. And then he stops, and he's like looking really kind of, and he's looking at you, Doloff. He's like really like having a good look, and he goes, these working then for you? Yeah, they're all maintenance. We're going up there. We're there all the time. He's like looking, and he just keeps looking at you, Doloff. Like it's like peering. He goes, can I see your license for this vehicle? So Hal's like, well, yeah, all right. Can you pass me it out of that box there? And he says to you, Jackson, can you just pass me it from in there? I think it's in there. Just a minute. And there's like you can see like a data pad that's down in front of you, Jackson.
Right. I'll reach down and pick that up. Is there anything else down there? Is it just the data pad?
No, that and a few discarded food wrappers and things like that he's clearly not cleaned up after himself. And he passes the license now, and he scans that, and he gives it back, and he gives the ID back, and then he looks back in the truck again and looks down again towards you, Doloth, and he goes, "You at the back there. What's your name?"
Doloth.
Doloth what?
Doloth Kinsey.
Doloth Kinsey. Something about him. And he turns and he walks off, and he goes off down to one of the other snow troopers that's like behind. So he's an officer. He goes over to the snow troopers. And then he just turns back to the truck and he just goes, "Move along. Move along." And how quickly he puts his foot on. You drive on through.
The person you're looking for.
Yeah. Oh lordy. God, I wasn't sure to go with the real name there.
I think we sort of like froze a little bit there. And when I was like, "What I was going to say my name is," I was like, "Just your real name," and then you're like, "No, don't use your real name."
I know. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll divert. Smack it. Beep, 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 beep.
Retcon.
Yeah. Oh lordy.
Oh,
so
shit.
as you get up here, you get to like just before you cross the bridge, Hal just like pulls over. So you're out of sight of that checkpoint, and Hal just pulls over, and he just goes, "God, what was that guy's problem?" And then he looks back at you, Doloth, and goes, Are you known to this lot? What's going on?"
Yes, I bet he is.
I have been. There was a point where just quickly.
Just don't use your real name.
There was a point where the Imperials were closing in on me. I thought that I'd managed to shake all of the tails who may have called me, but it would appear that my name is known to the Imperials. I will have to leave this planet after this mission.
Well, it's certainly known now, isn't it? And then he looks at you, Jackson, and goes, You did tell me that he was known. Oh, God, right, come on, let's just get you there. And then he sets off, and then you're going across the bridge. So he takes you across here. And then as you're coming in towards this point, you can see another checkpoint ahead. And up ahead of you, there's another speeder, what looks like another delivery truck that's already stopped. So you're like a few speeder lengths away, waiting. And he just pulls in. There's another speeder. And you can see there's a couple of snow troopers at the back of that, and they've got the open door at the back, and they're looking in and everything like that. And then Hal just like looks at you all, and he just goes, "Right, this is the last stop before we go in. Right, there's an Imperial officer, look, and there's 2 pair of snow troopers ahead. Now it looks like they are searching the vehicle. What do you want to do?"
I wonder if Doloth should hide underneath the vehicle, kind of almost, hang on to the axle kind of thing underneath. Well, maybe not the axle. That would be a really bad thing to hang on to, but something underneath. Yeah.
Doloth and Silence should just be getting off in the back. Then they won't look at it. It'd be really awkward.
I think it's a bit.
Well, so
late for that.
Really awkward.
Jack. Yeah, I mean, it could be a little bit awkward for someone to hop out and roll under if we, if Doloth doesn't do it subtly enough. Jackson has some knowledge of the Imperial Army. He may not have particular knowledge of sort of the search protocols, but is there anything that I know that will sort of help us in a situation? Like, they're going to search the stuff in the back. How thorough are they going to be in the cab? If they can't see Doloth, are we likely to just sort of get through if we can, like, I don't know how to say put a blanket over him, but like, if he can duck down and we can put a blanket over him and just all be casual.
Right. What did like
At that point, sorry, Hal interrupts you and goes, "Oh, here we go." And up ahead, that speed has already been moved on. They've been let through, and now they're waving your speeder on.
Jackson just very subtly is just going to roll his shoulders. He's just ready to play the part.
I think we could. Why don't, if it comes down to it, why don't we start arguing and try and delay the movement of traffic? No official likes a queue.
So the speeder, Hal takes it up
time.
and stops, and the officer again stops them. And now you're now stopped at the checkpoint. And the officer comes over to Hal and starts talking to him and quizzing him again, similar to the last one, wants to see his ID, but then suddenly demands, he goes, please step out of the vehicle. And Hal goes, oh, no, so I'm just here for, he says, get out of this vehicle. And I open the door, so Hal jumps out. He's like, pass me your ID. And poor Hal now starts getting all nervous to the point if he drops his ID, and now he's on the floor and he's like scrabbling around for it on the floor and getting all nervous and everything. You clumsy little, get your ID and stand up this instant. And he gets him up and he moves him over to the side of the road. Meanwhile, another stormtrooper, snow trooper, then makes their way over and looks in at you all and goes, all of you out.
So we've got one snow trooper at our vehicle, and we've got the officer who's taken Hal to one side. Are there any
Just
other
to one
troopers?
side? There's one other trooper, yeah.
Right.
So, and the other trooper is with the officer that's with Hal.
Right. Okay. Well, at this point, Jackson will just sort of hop out and go, "Oh, fuck's sake, what now? All we want to do is get a job done."
I think we could emphasize the time-dependent nature of the work we have to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So could we say something on the lines of, so I might just kind of look around and like look at my watch and just kind of like, oh, no, we're never gonna get this done. We're never going to get this done in time if these jokers keep us waiting here.
Jackson will slip out.
I mean, what are we going to do? Like, I mean, the governor, the director said, make sure. What would be the name of the sort of the top guy for the prison?
Yeah, the governor.
Dan. Yeah, the governor. Yeah, what would be the governor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like, Director Imperial was really specific that we get the governor all the help he needs before the system starts to kind of like get a bit shonky. And he said we've got to be there in time. I mean, we're just having a little bit of a bicker now, if we're here. And that every minute wasted, that's going to get harder. I mean, it's making my job harder. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Did you say Director Piran?
Director Pirian, yeah, he's the city. Pirian, he's the city administrator, and he'd obviously sent us to sort, to give the governor assistance with his hardware issues, and it's just getting worse. I mean, like, and the longer we wait here, the more time we waste, the harder it's going to be to resolve. I mean, we don't want to,
Jackson will just put his hand up and go, all right, Thomas, shut up. And he's just going to, he'll slide out of the cab next to the trooper and just say, you've seen what we're working with. This fella's the driver. He's the delivery fella. He's got the kit. We're in here to do a job. As my colleague said, Pirian needs us to get this done ASAP. I don't know what the fuck you guys are dealing with out here. It's a mess. But we've still got to do us jobs. That's what they've told us. Get in, get it done. We've got a deadline. And otherwise,
Trooper just raises his gun and just interrupts you and just says, every one of you out of this cab this instant.
I'll turn back because I've sort of slid out of the cab. So I'll turn back to the other two and just say, Jobsworth says we've got to get out, boys. This is going to take all fucking day.
Here, boss. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix this if we have to leave right now.
Well, if they kick us off job and the place blows up, that's their own fault. They're not holding anyone important here.
Yeah. So I turn my back as I'm getting out of the speeder. I turn my back to the soldier, to the guard, and just maybe turn to Dorothy or Jackson and just make a silent.
Yeah, nice. And I'll just sort of shrug.
Just a shrug, yeah. Like, okay,
fine.
We get paid anyway.
Yeah.
the trooper orders you to go and stand over on the side of the road, similar to like where Hal is, and Hal's just like getting like an earful from the officer of stuff. And then the other snow trooper he's come over with you, and he's just stood with now the guard. Meanwhile, the second trooper is beginning to walk back over towards the speeder itself, to then start, and he's basically doing a scan. He's like a visual scan. He's beginning to walk around the speeder itself, and the officer's really kind of getting quite insulting to Hal. He's like really kind of having a go at him about something. Obviously, something was said while they were over there before, while you were coming out of the cab. Something was said, and now he's like really talking down to him. He's being very belittling to poor Hal at the moment. And then the other trooper is just literally just stood between you and where they are. But you're now all really close. You're all close by, just like by the side of the road. And
So we've got
the other troopers heading back.
One snow trooper with us, one officer with Hal, and the other snow troopers doing the sort of visual sweep. Are there any other troopers or Imperial staff at all within range?
No, there's no other staff at all. But where the blockade is, where the road is stops, it stops at a fence, and the fence is obviously clearly the electrified fence that is going in. You're that close to the place now. It's like it's the equivalent of what would be a gatehouse of some kind, but it's not a gatehouse. It's just obviously the access road in, and there's a fence in, but there's none others there.
Have we got any other vehicles?
And then the officer. No, there's none others coming. No, the other speeder's gone in and now it's disappeared up. So what happens here is on the map, if you can see, you're stopped around about here like this. Yeah. And that other speeder's disappeared up around here. And you saw it disappear up through this point here. So you're about.
So like if we could dispatch these three, it's going to be a tricky job, but if we can do them quietly, quickly, we can still get in if negotiation doesn't work. But I mean, the mission is paramount. Jackson is getting increasingly irate at the way they're treating Hal. He is not a fan of Imperial tactics. But for now, he's just going to shove his hands in his pockets and play the lazy workman, and just see where it goes.
So then the officer makes his way over to you guys, and he first of all he just walks over and he just has a look at you, Jackson, first, and then he walks across and then he looks at you, silent, just he's quite, he's just very typical Imperial officer, very snooty in his face, and then he moves and just walks in front of you, Doloth. Now you're quite tall, so you're taller than him, and he walks over and he just looks at you. And he just doesn't stop staring at you for what feels like far too long. He's just really looking at you. And then he just walks back to the trooper in between. And he says, let's get this speeder searched. I want everything checking.
Turning into shit, isn't it? It's all turning into shit.
No, it's not. What it's doing is it's kicking off, boys. It's kicking off. Jackson's just going to turn to the officer as he looks up at Doloth and just say, "You got a problem with my friend here?"
We all look the same to you, don't we, Imperial?
Fucking racist. Bullshit, this. We've got a fucking job to do. Come here, lad. I'll tell you about the important work we've got going on in there.
I'll tell you about doing a job. We're doing our job. And if it wasn't for that rebel scum and their actions earlier today, we wouldn't be here right now doing this. Now, if you let us get about our job, we can let you get about yours. Unless, of course, you don't want us to be searching your truck. Get that back open quickly.
You can search whatever you like. I'll give a fuck. But we've got about 40 minutes to get in and do this maintenance, or the heat capacitors are going to be overloaded. And then we've got to pull double shift next weekend.
At this point, Hal then calls over and he goes, I come here every day. Just we just need to get in. And then the officer starts walking over towards Hal again. I think it's like a power trip. Like whenever he's there, he's like, Hal's a poor little guy. So he gets over to him and stands over him again. And he just goes, you don't get to tell me what to do at all. Anything more from you, and you'll be going to the detention center via another entrance.
So
poor Hal's like that.
Jackson's just going to glance very, very subtly at Silent and Doloth and let them go about their search and see if they find anything. And he's just going to be a bit sullen, but not overly sort of antagonistic. But he'll just give them the nod. And if we've got any kind of sort of code for go time, he's just going to put like a hold go time. Just be ready. Because if they pull out the box with the weapons in, then that's great. We've got easy access to weapons. All we've got to do is knock them down a bit. And Jackson's handy. He can brawl, and we can maybe wrestle a weapon off him. We're not suggesting it yet, but we're getting to the point where it's becoming time critical.
I feel like getting into a bit of a corner here, aren't we? Must be a way out.
So we're just gonna.
I mean, we've packed the stuff well. We've hidden it underneath a variety of other things. They can do their search. They might just find nothing. If they find something, we just need to be ready to absolutely spring. We're suddenly a flurry of blows.
That's good, isn't it?
So one of the troopers who's been in the back of the truck, he calls to the officer to come over, and so the officer makes it walk over towards the truck, and they kind of go up and round the back of the speeder. The other one stays next to you, but they go up and round the back of the speeder for a little bit, and then the next thing you hear of the back of the truck closing up again, and then both the trooper and the officer come back round, and they totally ignore you, completely ignore you three, and the officer just walks straight up to Hal and he goes, "Get your wretched little body back in that cab and out of my sight." And Hal just goes, yeah, all right, yeah, and he scampers straight away quickly.
We'll follow him to the vehicle and we'll get back in there. Once we're in the cab and moving,
just as you're getting into the cab, once again, the officer just puts his hand across Doloth just as you walking in front of him, and he just stops you, and he just goes, "Just remember, we're watching." He just stares at you, and then he lets you into the cab, and then him and his guard walk on, and they just move off to the side of the road.
Jackson is just for a second. Jackson is going to look at the officer and he's got a good memory for faces. He's good at remembering rebel sympathizers, picking people out of a crowd, people who might be potential rebel recruits. He's just going to remember that officer's face, just in case.
Just want to do one thing, sorry.
3 of you are dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, so you pull away from the checkpoint. Can you each take 1 strain, please?
I've already taken about 5. If Jackson's only taking 1, I'm delighted.
Felt pretty stressful. I thought it was all going to go to shit then.
So
and then as the speeder follows the road up, and the clouds actually in front of you just begin to part just a little bit, and this little wash of sunlight just illuminates the mountaintops, which gives the famous blinding glare in which the city itself below is named. The geometric matte grey forms of the detention centre now sit on a massive piers on its steep slope, looming over the warehouse building. The gun turrets swivel to track your speeder as it arrives at the deliveries port. This may not be an Imperial military base, but with its officers come Imperial firepower and defence. A large blast door opens just enough to let your speeder into the delivery dock, and it slams behind you with a loud metallic clang that echoes through the dock. There are 2 other speeder trucks inside, and their crews are unloading the cargo, while a pair of stormtroopers stand guard. And that is the end of episode 2.
Oh, you bastard.
Jackson just wants to lean over to Hal just as we pull in. He's just going to lean over to Hal and just go, "That's why we're fighting. That kind of crap will not happen in the world that we will create. You did well, my friend." I just as I mean, in my head, it was about like 9:15, and I was like, right, how are we going to do this? And I looked down and went, it's 11:15. We can't free the guys at 11:15. That was brilliant, mate. Again,
yeah, I love it.
Those second album nerves not deserved at all. I'm like this. It was so good.
I thought we were just. I thought like I was just looking for like what is the way out of this?
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't see how we can easily we can't run distraction easily because that's just going to cause more trouble. We can't be letting bombs off because that's just going to flood the area.
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do? And I was like I kept thinking, where's the opportunity here to get out of this? And I was like, in a minute, the GM is going to give us, a fig leaf of an opportunity, and it never fucking arrived.
It was all down to that roll. It was a perception roll. They were searching your truck, basically. It came down to that roll.
Yeah. And I was thinking, we've got to let them do that, because if they fail it, fine. If they don't, then but like if they haven't even searched the truck yet, and suddenly I punch the officer out, and then we're fighting bare knuckle against guys in full snowtrooper armor with blasters, it's going to be an absolute crapshoot, you know.
We just got lucky on them failing their perception roll, basically, didn't we? Otherwise, we were into a big old fight there. That could have been a real bad situation for the rebellion.
There was another way out of it, but we can talk about that once we're all completely done.
None of you were clever enough to do it. I love it.
That's great.
It feels like
feels like an episode of Star Wars. It feels like full of like tension and some really nice scenery and nice scenes and some cool NPCs and fun sort of intrinsically Star Wars atmosphere.
I wanted this episode to feel different and it not be, you've had the shooting, you've had your fun.
Yeah.
I wanted it to feel different.
A bit more tension. It was quite tense. It felt tense. It felt like a tension.
I loved as we came out, and I know Dan's obviously been sending us all stuff during the week, but as we had our discussions at base, it was like, well, I've got this. Well, this, right, we've got a bit of a plan here, but there are still some gaps in that plan. Like we're having to act on it because of the speed of the activity, but we're still in a position where we're like, it's the best we can do at short notice. Yeah. So God knows how it's going to go when we get in there.
That sort of in a hostile place surrounded by enemies is really great, isn't it? That sort of like, we've got to be careful what we do. The enemies all around. We might defeat the people in front of us, but if that kicks off, it's just going to draw more in. Yeah. Like we can't shoot our way out of this easily. So it was great.
You feel the rebellion, don't you? Because like if it was D&D, you go, right, well, we'll kill everyone and loot their corpses and we'll move on to the next bit. But this is like, well, no, we have a specific objective, and if we don't achieve it, the world ends.
Yeah.
It isn't achieved by murdering everyone.
We've got an interesting thing coming, because clearly Dollar is starting to be recognized by people. So his backstory of being a bit of a helping informants and so forth is clearly coming back to haunt him. So we might need to be a bit careful about Doleth in future episodes.
We just need Silent.
Ruin the plan.
Well, Silent needs to cut the face off a Rhodian and stick it on him, and they won't recognise him.
Good idea. Good idea. Brilliant. Awesome, Dan. Thank you. I'm going to have to make a move because I can see all my lot starting to disappear and off to bed and that. So I'm going to. I'm going to make a move, but that was awesome as ever, and
Mickey, you're not here next week. You're away, aren't you, next week?
No, I'm away from Tuesday to Friday next week. So I'm a week out. I'm afraid. Sorry.
That's okay. So do we want to do like so not next week, but then the following week? Do you want to plan for part 3 of this.
How many parts do you think it will take?
It's
Dan?
just
Another part?
3. Yeah, it's one more. It's one more
Yeah,
to go.
I'd rather finish it while we're.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I'd love
want to
as
keep
well.
this momentum because it's such a